Welcome to Stand Up Memories.
This is the show.
You guys don't even need me. You're doing fine on your own.
Yes, we have a guest, by the way. I'm Peter Bales. You were Jackie Martling.
And I'm going to shut up.
And now
You're like the two Muppets, those old guys in the balcony.
Do you know what, Vic? You're the first person that made that observation today.
Now listen. We have Vic DiBitetto here, one of the top stand-up comedians who's had a wonderful career, very funny, and we've had the privilege to kind of grow up together almost. We
Yes.
started out in comedy around the same time. We've had the hell gigs together, right?
And I would like to talk about one.
Well, first of all, it's all about me and
Okay.
Jackie. So don't think you're going to be able to talk on the show. No, please talk about a hell gig that we had back
Okay,
in the
I'm
day.
gonna give you one name, and I'm gonna see if you remember this. You ready?
Yes.
Larry Ragland.
I think I know the story.
I
Go.
saw her face in the window. She was so ugly, and it was you. Right? Is that
That's Larry Ragland. Go ahead.
Can I tell the story?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, this had to be back in the mid '80s, right?
I think he's been gone a long time.
Yeah, and back then when you had a gig with Joey Novick or Phil Selman or what's the other guy?
Jim Balazzo.
Jim
Jim
Balazzo.
Balazzo's, Roger Paul.
Yeah.
If you had a car, I would say, you want me to send you an 8x10 in my car or me? So if you had a car, the tradition was if you lived in New Jersey or Brooklyn or Staten Island, you had to pick up the comic in Manhattan and shoot to the hell gig. Now, this particular one was Connecticut. It was me, Larry Ragland, and Pete on the bill.
You?
So I had my brother-in-law. I had a small car at the time. It was a Honda Civic. My brother-in-law came along for the ride, so he sat in the front. When I went to pick up Larry Ragland, he had to get in the back. Right away, he had an attitude because he had to get in the back. He had plenty of room. I told my brother-in-law, move the seat all the way up. Right away, he's fidgeting. He's looking out the window, everything. Every time we put on the radio, he said, can you lower that? He was being a pain in the ass, and I knew this wasn't going to go well. So we get on 95.
I'm not sure I ever heard him say anything that wasn't a complaint.
There you go. So now you know it's not me when you hear the rest of the story.
A little bit, yeah.
So we're on 95 North. I whip out a joint. I light the joint. He says, Vic, if you're going to continue to light that joint and smoke it, you can let me out of the car. No problem, Larry. I pulled over on 95 in the middle of there was no exit near about. I said, get out, because I'm going to smoke the joint. He got out of the car. I pulled away and I looked in the rearview mirror. I see him getting smaller and smaller. I get to the gig. Pete's like, where's Larry Ragland? And I the whole situation. So me and Pete did his time, and we split his money. Fuck him.
Is that a joke? You never told me that.
That's a true story. You know the joke about Larry Ragland?
Is he still standing there?
Yeah. When you drive to a gig,
6 feet under.
when you drive to a gig with Larry Ragland, he's going to get in the car and he's going to say one sentence the entire night. Does this place have food? And that's it.
It's a
Wow,
shame.
that
Because
was
on
an angry guy.
stage, he was great on stage. It's a
He
shame.
was a terrific impressionist. Ed Sullivan, Johnny Mathis. That's how some of the impressions he did. You once told me a story about how your family had a garbage territory. And there was a movie in your family's territory. And Vic, remember the sentence you said to me really intensely. You said, when you see that movie and you see that garbage, remember, that's my God.
Yep.
That's my God. You got to fill in the blanks there.
And I know the movie. It was Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams. It was on 14th Street. And that was my garbage in the scene.
Very territorial, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you used that word, because that's what it was. It was for the, private sanitation. And, how to work with,
Yeah, gotcha.
with these guys.
Gotcha.
How do you think I got into Dangerfields? I told Tony Bavacqua, if I pick up your garbage, can you give me stage time? That's how I got into Dangerfields, by picking up his garbage.
Oh,
I have heard them all, and that is a new one.
that.
I'll get your date with my sister. I'll get your kid into college. but I'll pick up your garbage is a beauty.
As I'm pulling away after my set, I'm honking the horn. The audience is waving at me through the window. I mean, come on.
That's so great.
Because my route was Midtown Manhattan.
You know that Tony is still alive. Still
Yeah, he's
alive.
like 90-something years old.
Like 91.
Well, James tried to buy it, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, Governors was going to buy it, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I, with everything that went on at Dangerfields, I still remember the place favorably. Really nice times there.
Pete, I got a VHS tape of me, you, and Danny Curtis in the green room in Dangerfield. I got to dig it up. I got to dig it up somewhere.
I hope I was behaving okay.
Oh, you were great. Here's another name for you. Here's another name. Alan Bursky.
Alan Bursky.
Wow.
He was
Now
weighing
that's way
he
back.
was weighing coke on a little scale in the green room. I said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I don't want to get involved with this shit. He was a psychopath.
Those were the days. I remember those days.
I have a story that I've told so many times, but you got to hear this. There was when I was fooling around with Rodney and, going back and forth with jokes, he called me up and said, tell me if this is too strong. Tell me if it's too strong. I get no respect. I got a parrot that calls me Jew bastard. So I said, well, I don't know if it's too strong, but that's the funniest thing. So I told that joke forever. And I told that story at the Friars Club to a bunch of guys at lunch. And Dick Capri leaned over from the next table and said, it did make it into Rodney's act, because I didn't know if it made it into his act. He said, not only did it make it into his act, but that was his signal joke. So if he was on stage at Dangerfields and he did that joke, if you were in the green room getting a blowjob, that meant pull up your pants because I'm almost done. Because there was a little speaker in the room,
Yes. That's when they called you, and you had the dumb waiter to bring down your turkey sandwich. Oh my God. Those were the days, man. Those days are gone. I did a gig a couple of months ago. These young comics, I don't even remember his name. And Johnny Carson came up in a conversation, and he goes to me, "Who's Johnny Carson?" I said, I got to get out of here. I got to go to the bathroom.
You know what? We're almost at the point to where they're going to say, "Who's Jay Leno?"
I'm telling you,
time is raging past, man.
Yeah. We're doing this so long. I'm doing this 40 years. 40
But
years.
you've been doing this. You are still you. You haven't changed. You don't compromise. You are the Italian-American comedian, and you evoke that entire world.
I think Sebastian holds that title.
Well, what is your title?
The donkey of comedy.
The
Lou Gehrig of comedy.
He's spaghetti, you're lasagna, whatever.
There's different levels of success. You got the Maniscalcos and the Burrs, and I'm happy. Look, I'm not on the garbage truck no more. After the garbage truck, I drove a dump truck, a cement truck, a school bus for 13 years in Staten Island. I transported the future criminals of Staten Island. And in 2013 is when it all came together. It was like the perfect storm. I got the viral video, Bread and Milk. Kevin James calls me out of nowhere, puts me in a movie. I signed with a great manager, and it was going like this. The pandemic hit, it leveled off, but I survived, and I really can't complain. I got a loyal following.
Vic, I work with a lot of young comedians. I have a comedy school, and they ask me,
oh my God.
I'm not plugging it again.
We made it 10 minutes before you plugged your stupid college.
A lot of young comedians ask, how can social media help someone who's becoming a comedian? You are the person most.
And you know what Peter says? What's social media?
All right. I used to be on MySpace up until last month. Look, you are the most qualified probably to answer that question. And a lot of young comedians watch this podcast. Bread and Milk, what did that do to your career? It came before Kevin James, right?
Yes. See, everybody thinks that's what put me on the map. It didn't. I've been doing these videos since 2009. Bread and Milk was the one that happened to go viral. I got a bunch of other viral videos. When the pandemic came out, I did one called Message to the Government, where I ripped them a new asshole about that $1,200 stimulus. That hit like 34 million just on Facebook alone. That's not including Instagram and YouTube.
But
I would tell the young...
Those major videos you did, they're pre-TikTok, right? They were all Facebook.
Yes, pre-TikTok. I just started TikTok recently. TikTok is it's like a chess game. Facebook wants something different than YouTube. YouTube wants something different than Instagram. It's now they're messing with the algorithms.
And you
Not
try and
just
keep
me.
up, it's unbelievable,
Not just me, they're cutting everybody's algorithms. And I was getting hundreds of, when I first started doing this, now it's like almost a third. And I'm working even harder to come up with different content every day. But I would tell the young comics, just keep doing it. Same time, just keep doing it. Don't give up. Your fans will get used to what time you're posting, and it's got to be funny.
And you
it's gotta
don't have
be
any
short.
idea what's going to hit. You don't know what's going to hit.
It's a roll of the dice. I almost deleted Bread and Milk. I thought it was stupid. That was 26 seconds. It went viral.
Tell
Because it
everybody
was-
what bread and milk was.
Yeah, explain that.
Explain bread and milk and then how it changed your career.
It's when it snows in the Northeast, people see
Yeah.
a snowflake, they panic, they got to get the bread and milk. So my wife didn't want to cook that night. I went out to get something. I saw a snowflake, and it just came to my head. I whipped out the phone, and I said, I imitated all. Oh, here we go. I got to get the bread and milk. I'm walking from my house to the car. I'm in the car. Oh my God, they said snow. 26 seconds got me more recognition than at that time was 30 years of stand-up. It hit a nerve because it was during a snowstorm, and it hit a nerve. It went viral overnight. It was crazy.
It hit like the same nerve as like Rodney Dangerfield's wife jokes and Henny Youngman's wife. It was so you could adhere to it, whether you were married or had a girlfriend or your mother freaking out that, it's going to snow,
The beauty of this one, it comes back every winter. It's like Christmas carols. It comes back every winter.
Right.
It's amazing.
And it bumped up your level of pay and your level of gigs. Mainstream media picked up on it too.
Oh, the news. I was on all the news. The Weather Channel played it. It was crazy. It was on every news.
I got to ask you, did you ever toy with making Bread and Milk into a film? Because there really is a film there.
No, I never,
All right, I'm going to go home and write it, and I'll text you.
Go ahead.
26 seconds.
Call Russell. Talk to Russell.
Talk to
I
his
give up.
manager.
If I had a penny for every project that went nowhere in this business, I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah.
When I first got off the Stern Show, people interview me and say, what are you doing? And I would say, well, now I'm doing independent movies, and I'm going to keep doing independent movies until one of the ones I did gets finished.
There you go.
But Vic, you are a highly respected comedian.
Not by me.
Well, by most people.
Don't
By
kid yourself.
audiences.
I got my
and-
haters too. Don't kid yourself. We
But-
all have haters.
I know, but you do take a moment to enjoy your success, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, good. I want to hear
Are you
that.
kidding me? Pete, when my manager sat me and my wife down, because my wife worked on the school bus, she was the matron because we had special ed kids, and you need a matron to watch the kids because I had to drive the bus. We both resigned from the pool company after 13 years. We went to bed that night and say, what the fuck did we just do? You got to sacrifice. And from there on in, it's been, I'm booking the 2025 now. I got theaters, and it's just, look, as long as the people keep coming out, I keep selling tickets, I'll keep doing. I still enjoy being on stage.
Of course.
See, that level, I'm looking at next month going, he's booked till 2025. And, but Vic, I always say this on the show. I've said it before. When comedians get together, whether it's a diner or even a podcast like this, we know most nights are so much fun and the shows are so terrific, but we tend to remember when comedians are together, the nightmares, the times things went wrong, because we can at the time, they're painful. Now you can look back and laugh at them.
Do you know one thing looking back, and I don't know whether it's just my memory, but there was so many hell gigs and so much horror, but I don't remember many times being in the car with 2, 3, 4 other comics where one of them was a total idiot or a moron that it seems like everybody made the grade,
Except for Larry Raglan. Were you
Well,
paying attention?
He's still standing on 95.
What's his name? Peter.
Bales.
No.
He set me up for that.
No, Pete
Fogel.
Pete Fogel.
Is that true, that story about him on the cruise ship, or is that just?
You know what?
It is-
I repeat it. I don't ever want to know if it's true.
It has to be true. It's too good not to be true.
great
Tell the
story.
people quickly what happened.
Okay, he's on it. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. It was around that time where that Jewish guy in the wheelchair.
Leon Klinghoffer.
So he's on stage and he asked the waitress, "Can you get me a Leon Klinghoffer?" And she says, "What is that?" And he says, "2 shots and a splash." The next day, a helicopter comes and takes him off the ship. And
This is at the time where it had happened like days before.
right.
This is a cruise ship, folks, and when they tell you not to do a joke about something that's controversial, they mean it.
Well, I did a cruise ship once, never again. I did a joke about the captain. The captain never goes to the show. Out of all the shows, of all the nights, that one night I do that one joke, he's in the audience. It was during, remember the Exxon Valdez?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Because we had to reroute because it was a hurricane. I said, "Relax, folks. The captain of the ship is from the Exxon Valdez."
That's funny.
That was the end of
That's
that.
funny.
I don't like cruises anyway. You're with your audience all week. I don't need that.
Now, you're an Italian American yourself. Have you ever had, well, you have, the audiences love you, a lot of Italian Americans, but a lot of everybody loves you. But have you ever had a real New York City Italian American crowd that was too much even for you?
No, not really. The worst, you know what it is? Now I'm at the point where I'm getting heckled by my own material. People are yelling out bits in my act now. They're yelling out videos. And it's weird because it throws me off, but yet they're not being malicious.
Right, they're being complimentary, but they're
Right.
screwing you up.
One of the worst gigs. Remember the what do they call those things in Jersey? We have the little meats on the bread.
Kebab, steak kebabs? What
The
kebab?
steak, it's a thing. It's a tradition in Jersey where they serve these little meats. Bobby Gonzo was notorious for these gigs.
Oh, the steak where the guys eat the steak with their hands and
Right. They save the bread so they have more room in their stomach and they build a structure. Whoever
oh,
wins
right, a mountain of the
a
little piece of
beefsteak,
garlic bread.
a beefsteak.
Gotcha.
Anyway, it's 300 drunken firemen. I'm on stage. They're throwing the fucking meat at me and the little bread. So it was like a cartoon. I caught 2 pieces of bread and some meat. I made a sandwich and I was eating it as I did my stand-up. And they won bananas. I had them like this.
Some of those things you're going in, you're looking at, this will be the worst thing ever. And I wind up selling out all my books and big hugs.
Amazing.
But when you first go up there, they're staring at you like you're the fire. You
Yep.
know, like,
Here's a story. I'll give you 2 names. Bob Woods and Otto and George.
Bob Woods, a terrific Long Island comedian, very heavy, famous for doing Ralph Cramden, the late Bob Woods, we love him, and Otto and George, the legendary ventriloquist who broke all barriers.
I got Otto and George. Otto's in the front. Woods is in the front. I'm in a Honda Civic. And you know Woods, his knees are hitting the windshield. That's how big he was. Otto's in the back. I'm doing the speed limit. Otto is a nervous wreck. He's doing coke since the beginning of the ride. And he's turning around and he goes, "Boy, Vic, there seems to be a lot of driving involved." And Woods, without a beat, turns to me and goes with that classic line, "Aren't you the master of observation, Wolf boy?" And he was just breaking his balls. Otto was a wreck. It was just one of many stories. My God. I'm so glad like the 80s. That was like, you know, like Jackie mentioned before, that was like right after the Lenos and the Lettermans. Then it was us. And I started at Pips Comedy Club.
I was going to bring up Pips. What are your memories of Pips?
It was
Pips,
where the mobsters
Brooklyn.
met the lobsters. It was the lineup was Dice, John Maroney, Richard Jenny, me. I was the rookie, you know, and I learned from those guys. John Maroney was my mentor. And eventually he's the one that broke me into Long Island. And that's when you used to book governors, Jackie. And
right.
And John got me into governors. And it was just it was a nice story. I came along at the right time. You know,
Yeah,
it's hard
I just wish somebody could make a TV show or a movie that somehow could catch the feeling and just what it was like in the car on the way to a gig. You cannot recapture that.
No.
It was magic. And I think we knew it at the time, you know.
It was a
I
different.
mean,
Could you
for
imagine
a
some
few
of these
years-
guys? Wouldn't you? I would pay to see Otto and George deal with this cancer culture bullshit. You know, it was just, and George Carlin and all these guys with today's society, how fucked up it is. It's a different world.
Pluck them from there and put them in today and see what happens.
I got to say to the audience, Vic DiBitetto is real. This is him.
That's
And
really him?
It's no, but I mean, his what he is now is what he is on stage, is what he is off stage. I mean, you're a real guy, and I'm trying to be as clear as I can. You're a real. I love you, man. I hope we can have Vic on again.
I hope
This
so.
this time went super fast. We barely scratched the surface.
Wow, that was wow.
We sounded like we just.
Did you
feel-
enjoy yourself
did
with
that-
us?
What's that?
Did you enjoy yourself with us?
Absolutely. It felt like 5 minutes.
I know,
like-
right?
It felt like 5 minutes.
And that's the yardstick when it goes that quick. So we'll do this again for
But-
sure.
Yeah, but I want to add one
Absolutely.
thing before we end. Vic, you should feel good that they call out your bits, because that means they know your bits.
Yes.
During my act, you know what they call out?
Not this again.
Next.
Actually, no, they call out Freebird, which is annoying because
I'm sorry.
you know, you might. I do the setups on this show. He does the punchlines.
You guys got a nice chemistry. This has got a good chemistry here.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Rick, we love you. We definitely want to have you back for some old stories.
Absolutely.
You know, this show, Stand Up Memories, is exactly what you're sharing with us today. We love it. Vic DiBitetto, thank you for coming on.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for the
bro.
memories.
All right.